Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Today's guests are a fantastic band from Manchester. They are Unchained. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
We're doing good. Thank you for having us. We've been excited for this for a long while. So yeah, thank you.
No, pleasure's mine, man. Pleasure's mine. Yeah, let's. I mean, like I've met you. You've played at the open mics. I do a few times. But let's kind of get into just like the beginnings. Let's do a little storytelling minute. How did you get into music?
Oh, getting into music as a whole. Do you want to start? I feel like yours is probably more
Uh,
more poetic than
yeah, yeah,
mine.
yeah. I can do.
Ooh.
Um, so I sort of grew up in a house where my dad was like super into like lots of sort of 90s rock. So I can remember like Nirvana and Sisters of Mercy and Nine Inch Nails playing in the kitchen when he was like cooking when I was growing up. And then my sister was really into all the sort of emo stuff like Taking Back Sunday and My Chemical Romance and all that. So I sort of it was like those two different eras sort of got me into stuff. And then I got into Green Day and then I got into Blink and I saw how bad Blink would how bad Blink would play live.
I was gonna say,
And I
choose
was
your
like,
words carefully, young
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, you know what, I could probably do that. So yeah, that's why I started playing guitar.
What was it like? I could do that better. I reckon I would
not,
get a
not,
fair
not that I could
crack
do
at
it
that.
better. It's just like if they're playing like that,
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah, like
punk.
I
Yeah.
can do that. Not to say that they are talented guys, they're amazing songwriters, but it's just funny. Like,
No, you're right. I remember people saying the same thing about Blink back in the day. Like they're fantastic as musicians, but unfortunately, as you know, but I'll say for audience, if you're not a musician, I will say this: playing live is just like a whole other thing. Most bands, most artists kind of start, make their bread and butter there, and then eventually get to the studio and do that. And obviously, with punk music, pop punk, whatever, it's you can kind of get away with it sounding a bit shit because that's kind of the whole point. But like,
yeah,
but I don't know because they're kind of like more in the pop side than the punk side, you know. So I got to choose my words carefully here, man. I grew up with Blink. I was a kid when they like teenager when they were big, and I don't know. I mean, I always kind of felt like the big war between the pop punk bands of that era was Green Day versus Blink, and I always felt like Green Day were much more polished. But then Green Day had been going for a lot longer as well. That's the thing.
yeah.
Like people forget this. Like Blink, I think they were maybe early to mid '90s, and then Green Day was like from mid '80s onwards.
Yeah, 87. I think 87 was when they started.
Sounds
Yeah.
about right. Yeah. So they had a lot of time. Plus on top of that, obviously Billy Joel Armstrong. Sorry, was a child musician, bit of a child prodigy deal. So he was kind of like yourself, like sort of born into music and kind of went from there. And I always think like if you had that level of professional training, it kind of sets you apart. Whereas I think Blink was just like three dudes like got together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
man.
interesting stuff. So we got a bit of an idea of what you're into. How about you, Ozzy?
Go on
Uh, it's not really as glamorous for me. I mean, I used to be really into like theatre and stuff like that, and
Ooh.
acting, the acting side of things. And I did a school play when I was 13, and that got me really into theatre and stuff like that. And I really wanted to perform in general, but musical theatre wasn't really my side of it. It was like acting, and then lockdown happened, and all of the theatre classes that I went to and all of that just sort of stopped, and I couldn't really pursue that thing that I really wanted, and I still really had that like creative itch. And then my brother showed me this is a really sad reason to get into music. My brother showed me the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and
Oh,
in that
so sick.
movie he plays bass. He's a bass player, and I was like, oh, this is really sick. I want to learn this instrument. So my parents gifted me my first bass. And then, like Joe, I got really into the pop punk bands because it was really simple and it was like easy stuff to learn. So I learned a bunch of pop punk stuff, a lot of Blink, a lot of Green Day. And then that just kind of changed. I sort of like rotated them from like performance and musical theatre into going into like music and wanting to be in a band. And I think not long after that, I decided instead of doing sixth form to study music at college. And then that's what kind of got me to where I am now. That's where we met, and yeah, just purely because of COVID, to be honest.
COVID brought us together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't miss those times. But anyway, so okay, cool. So you were both studying music, and that kind of brought you together. Is there any? I think this is an interesting one because, like, I personally, I didn't study music myself. I was just kind of like homegrown, couldn't afford to. Um, but I was in bands with people that had studied, so it was always kind of a unique difference, like what everyone could kind of bring to the table. Is there anything in particular you'd say from your musical education that kind of you use and apply in your music?
You start. You start.
Let's get into technical theory.
In my opinion, Joe is going to disagree with this, I know, but in my opinion, the most that I got out of college, so this was like not like uni college, but like sixth form college.
Okay. Yep.
The most I really got out of it was the people I met. That was where I met the band. But as far as like the actual education side of it went, I think I didn't really get much from it. It was confidence. But I know that Joe, you picked up like it changed a lot about the way that you like songwrite and stuff, didn't it? And like you tell that story.
Basically, right. Yeah, so our like first year, our tutor got really sick and he had to leave, so we didn't have a tutor for the entire first year. So we were basically just
Self-taught.
Yeah, no. We had people coming in and stuff, but it was just a bit rocky. And then we got to second year and we had a proper tutor for the whole time, and he basically got me into the Beatles. And that for me was just like all of last year and lots of this year, just completely obsessed.
Do you know, it's interesting with the Beatles because I'm a fan personally. I don't know, good music is good music, and if you obviously with any band, there's you break it down. You've got like your casual fans, casual interests, you know the hits, and then you sort of delve deeper and you realize like just how incredible songwriters they were, all four of them as well.
Yeah.
And they all brought something a little bit different to the table. They all excelled massively in their solo careers, some more than others. And as a musician, I'd argue it's like the musicians band kind of thing. It's like everyone knows the Beatles, everyone loves the Beatles, but if you're a musician, even if you don't like the Beatles, you have to respect like what they brought to the table. Some people will laugh and be like, just a pop band, they're a boy band, and it's like that might be true, but like they're still incredible songwriters, and so much of basic like chord progression comes from a lot of that. They were quite experimental, like if you're into your heavier music, Helter Skelter, the song was like so unbelievably ahead of its time. It's almost kind of crazy to think that was like late 60s or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I imagine back then that would have been like considered devil worship music or something, like what is this? But to our ears, that's just like, I don't know, like early punk rock, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
Still sounds so good though.
100%. But like that's the key in that, is that they were not afraid to experiment. And one thing I've learned about music over the years is that everything that you hear that becomes successful at some point was underground for quite a while, so was around way before its time. So things like let's say like early punk probably would have been maybe even the late 60s, like somewhere underground, and then it became a thing known in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's like someone somewhere, maybe it's a journalist, maybe it's a promoter somewhere goes, I'm going to give them a chance, and now suddenly they're heard by everyone. So it's just I don't know, it's fun shit like that, really fascinating, like how that happens, and then how in a kind of osmosis style, like society kind of grips onto this thing. Like a good example is obviously I grew up like in the 2000s, so it was all like emo and Scene Kids and all this shit, and it was great. It was like, if you're a music fan, it's a great time to grow up. Obviously, in England, you had your British indie and stuff, some fantastic bands. But arguably, maybe the last great time for bands, at least from the kind of mainstream perspective. Because
yeah, definitely.
I think your band is evidence of the fact that there's so much good young homegrown talent that's coming through. And I find bands every single day in like Manchester, Liverpool, all around the UK, even in the States, and I'm like, there is great music out there. It's just you got to find it. It's not in the charts.
That's why I always think it's so stupid when people say rock music's dead. It's just like you just need to look for it.
It's cyclical, isn't it? I mean, rock music is part of pop, like no, sorry, not pop. No, pop culture. Yeah, it's part of culture. If you go to the States and you go to like a baseball game or some shit, you're gonna hear some rock songs, maybe even some metal songs, some country, and some hip hop probably. Like people are a lot less fussy, I think, and especially like when you enter, I'm sure you've noticed this as well. Like in adulthood, people are a lot less fussy about what they listen to. Like you might get the odd person go, "Oh, I wouldn't listen to that shit," but most people are like, yeah, I don't mind a bit of that, don't mind a bit of that, whatever's on the radio. That's kind of how most people reverberate. And that's why I've always kind of understood that like being a music fan is kind of, there's like levels to it. Do you know what I mean? You're someone who likes to put it on while they're cleaning, someone who likes to go to gigs, someone who's a musician and loves music, and then someone who's like a mega fan, like knows everything since the beginning of music.
Yeah.
So where do you guys sit on that totem pole?
Probably the highest, both of us.
Yeah, I'd say I think neither of us are like experts, but we both want to be, and I think that kind of means a lot. Like we both constantly try to learn about not even like our favorite genres, but other genres, other artists. I know Joe reads a lot about music all the time. I would like to read more, but I don't. But we're both really open to experimentation, and we both really like giving everything a chance, which I think I'd say that's the top one.
Yeah.
Right now it's a two-piece, isn't it? Or is there someone else?
No, so we do have a drummer. It's just
okay.
Basically, I moved up to Manchester in last September, and was up there, and then Ozzy would come up to visit, and then we'd do the open mics together. But then I'd come home to do gigs and stuff. But we're both moving in with each other in September. So, yeah.
It's been like admittedly, it's been like kind of a stagnant period because we've all been in different places. And that's why the vast majority of our performances for the last year have just been me and Joe at open mics, pretty much acoustically. We have done like a couple of full band performances, but they've been scattered. But the hope is in Manchester, we'll be able to, in September, when we're both in Manchester living in the same place, it's just going to be full steam ahead again. So, yeah.
Speaking of which, you currently got a record out. It's a full album. It's really, really good. There's some good bangers on there. I've often played it at the open mics and played it to people just like randomly as part of playlists, and I can see people kind of getting into it. Like do you know what I mean? It's just some good shit.
We appreciate that a lot.
Oh, of course, man. Let's focus firstly on just like kind of like how that's done. So when did you release that?
The album got released on July 1st, 2024.
Okay.
I've still got the dates in my head. Yeah, nearing on a year now. It was a college project, technically. We knew that we wanted to release music. And then for our second year of college, we had a big like final project coming up. And there were no ropes at all. Like we could do whatever we wanted so long as it was something somewhat impactful. Yeah, good. So some
just kidding.
So some people did just like EPs, some people did gigs. We had quite a lot of original music that we were sat on. So we decided pretty early in our second year that for our final project we were going to do an album.
We were going to do an EP first, weren't we? That was what we were going to do, and then our teacher.
Microphone.
Sorry. Yes, originally we were going to do an EP, and then our teacher basically was like, "No, you guys should do an album. Like, you'll smash that."
Yeah.
And we were like, we thought we didn't have enough songs, but then, yeah, we just went with it, and it turned out very good.
What's been the kind of the reaction? Let's say, like, because, for example, like with my album, it got released in March. I've been just furiously promoting it online. and it's weirdly picking up more interest now than when it was originally released, which I find interesting. But off the back of it, I've managed to get a few gigs.
Yeah.
So it's slow, but there's something there. What has this album done for you in the last year?
That was a good question. What has it? Go on.
Well, I found it was admittedly, for me at least, a little bit humbling because like being a young band, I was like immediately like, this is going to do amazing. Not everyone in the world, but like a lot of people are going to listen to this straight away. And that's not, unfortunately, the reality of it. You do have to put the work in. And like 17, 18-year-old me did not understand that there's a lot of work that goes into getting people to listen to it. And I'd say, similar to what you've just said, it kind of was slow at first, but now, ironically, now almost a year on, this is where we're starting to actually build momentum off it. And ironically, this is when we're starting to also write songs for the next one. So it's like, it's
put a pin in that. We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so much of this is about your promotion game.
Yeah.
I did a documentary, a behind the scenes for my album, and there's a scene. There's a. It's not scripted. There was a.
sure.
I mean it. No. So shout out to George Sayers. He's one of the guys who helped me produce it. He did the drums on my album as well. In it, we're just chatting. I'm doing behind the scenes. He said, "You're a really great self promoter." And I thought about it at the time. I was like, "Oh, maybe." And then I looked at like the last, let's say, 6 months and what I've been doing with the album and stuff. And I'm like, I think back to that comment and the fact that someone else has picked up on that, and then I look at the efforts and I'm like, that's exactly what you need to do. You kind of just have to like tirelessly promote it and not give a fuck what people think. Just do it, you know? Like, and everyone's journey is different, you know? Like, one of the tricky things I seem to have a lot of the time is I'll play, but I won't get promoted by, say, like the venues that, or like whatever, the people associated with the venues and stuff. And I'm like, well, I have to be that person then. You know, if they're not going to help me out, if these people aren't going to help me out, I have to be the one that helps me out. And sometimes you'll have friends that will help you out, people that support you. Shout out to those people. But a lot of it is you're on your own, and it's like, do you let that hold you back, or do you just sort of full steam ahead? Fuck it, like let's just do it.
Yeah.
With that in mind, what have been maybe some of the, let's say, obstacles, challenges that you faced so far, like kind of like getting your music promoted, maybe getting gigs, etc.?
Well, I'd say, like we mentioned before, a big one's definitely been the distance, and that's just part of like our lives. Like Joe wanted to go to university, and I hadn't quite figured out what I wanted to do yet, so I took a gap year, and then kind of immediately was like, oh, I kind of wish I went to university now. So now I did all my like applications and stuff straight away. But I'd say not being together to always like perform together and make content to promote and stuff, that has kind of been tricky. And that's another reason why we're looking forward to the new academic year in September. What would you say?
Yeah, and I was just on that with the whole thing with the distance. I think it made me moving away. It sort of made me appreciate being in the band a lot more, if that makes sense, because it was just like weird to not constantly be doing stuff, if that makes sense. Obviously, I was doing like uni work and all that, but yeah, it was just really made me appreciate it a lot more than I think I did before.
I gotta say as well, like on that note, so much of this is about gratitude and like if you can be gratitudinal, is it gratitudinal? Is that word? If you can be grateful, then you can be grateful. It really makes the experience mean much more, and you'll probably get more out of it, more opportunities and stuff. Like I recently had the lead singer of a band called Trusted on my show, and I knew that these boys were down to the earth anyway, but he blew me away by like some of the stuff he said. Like even though that band is probably going to hit it maybe within the next, let's say, year, you know, they've been going for like 7 or 8 years, and I didn't know that. I was like, fucking hell, what? And it's like they do it for the love of the music and because they believe in themselves and what they're doing and they want to do it. And like, I think too many people get caught up in like how many fucking streams there are, how many people are listening, whatever. You know, like I see a lot of comments like that now. And don't get me wrong, I used to get caught in that trap of like, oh, I wish more people would listen. I wish people would care.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah, yeah.
people do care. There will be people that care. And the people that care, there are your fans. They might be your friends. They might be friends of friends. They might be complete strangers. But there are people that care. And I think like your attitude can be everything. You know what I mean? Like whenever you guys play on stage, it's a positive vibe. It's good. It's polished. It's you know it's there. It's strong. It has legs. You know it could go somewhere. But you got to like keep up with it. When I look at myself and like, what I've done over the last say 5 or 6 years, like I was looking through some old clips the other day, and I realized one of the songs on my album, like I knew it had been written years before, but like I saw like how much it had changed over that time, and like how much I've changed as well, and like that it obviously finds its way to seep into your music and ultimately will make you better musicians. You know, in
Yeah.
say 5 years from now, if you're still here, you're still doing this, you'll be even better as musicians, and the music will be even better, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Speaking of the music, let's get on to it. You mentioned that you're writing for this new record. When could we maybe expect this new record?
That's it. Yeah, that is quite a.
I want some answers, damn it.
I don't want to put like a. I think by next year.
We should hope by
sometime next
At
year,
some point.
maybe.
I would like to hope the like mental note that I've got in my head is summer 2026, 2 years on from the release of our first album, because we're gonna, I think, living together. Like the majority of recording our first album, Not So Notorious, was me and Joe sat recording guitar parts and bass parts, and Joe and I, our drummer Sean does backing vocals on a couple of songs, but lead vocals on every. We like alternate songs. So I think the fact that we're going to be living together in September is going to mean that the majority of the record we're going to be able to record quite quickly because we're going to be together a lot, and then it's just getting the drums done and all the additional faff. But well, not faff is very important parts of doing an album. But yeah, I'd like to hope that it can be
I think
next summer.
It sounds like you're gonna try to do it from home, or you're gonna go in the studio. What's the deal?
Well, we're going to sort of. I think the plan is to try and do it at the studios at uni. I'd imagine. Just because resources are there, may as well use them.
Yeah.
And and then just try and get it done and make it 10 times better than our first one.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's talk a little bit about songwriting. Like, what's kind of like your general approach? How does the music sort of come together?
I know it's sort of different every time. Recently, it's been a lot where I'll have sort of written. I do like a diary, so sometimes I'll look at what I've written and write some lyrics, and then sort of write music from the lyrics. Whereas I used to do it music first, then the lyrics. So I've been swapping it around recently, but yeah, it's just different for me with every single song. What about you?
Yeah, for me, unfortunately, I've always argued that Joe is the better songwriter out of the two of us. We both argue about who is, but for me, it's a lot less artsy. I hate to say it. I do appreciate the artistry in music, but for me, it's like very Ouija. There's a John Mayer uses the phrase Ouija boarding. I'm not really the biggest John Mayer like fan, but he uses the phrase Ouija boarding, which is just means like it just comes to you and you just write it down, and then if it doesn't come to you, it's not meant to be. And that's pretty much what I do. I'll just sit with a guitar and like faff about until some chords come together that sound nice, and I'm like, oh, we'll use this. And then my lyrics are always the last thing I do. It's always chords, melody, lyrics, whereas Joe, obviously for you it's different every time, but for me it's pretty formulaic. But to be fair, I'd argue Joe's songs are a lot more experimental than mine. You can tell they're a bit more formulaic in how they're made, whereas his are all over the place.
He's being way too harsh on himself.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, less is more, man. I mean, the most popular song on my record is a song that has two chords and like barely any lyrics in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it, I think like people forget this, but like music at its core is just something you bop your head to, like, oh, this sounds good. This sounds, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's have you ever seen The Sopranos?
You know what? I haven't. My mate Adam is like completely obsessed with it, and I've just not seen it.
Go out of your way to watch it, right? Bit of a left field turn for you here, but it's related to music. So there's a storyline in there where basically one of the family is tied with the record industry. You know, he's tied up with all the. He's like a rich guy. He's sort of semi-retired, and he basically owned all the like Motown contracts. So he like made a killing back in the day.
Yeah.
And one of these like wise guys comes to him from the family and introduces him to this kind of somewhat crap rock guy who is all right, but nothing special. And they've got this record, and all the family are trying to push it hard because, oh, we can make money from this. This is a business opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And this guy outright just says, like, yeah, sorry, it's just not, it's not there. And they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's great. It's great. And then he comes with the line, hey, look, a good song is a good song.
Yeah.
Simple.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, like, when people say, like, oh, fucking one hit wonders, it's like, look, I mean, if you got a song and people like it, people are into it, and they play it all the time, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, for instance, I bet you any money. 'Cause let's trade war stories on the album, right? So there's songs on there that you both enjoy playing that maybe don't resonate with fans as much, or don't get as much of a reaction. There might be songs on there that people really like that maybe you're not as fond of, not necessarily hate, but you're just like, right? And then there'll be kind of songs there in the middle that maybe you don't, maybe just don't seem like much to you, but people are constantly saying like, this is such a great song, you know. And it's like, and then obviously this is the other element as well. When it comes to like how you did it in the studio versus how you play it live, there might be something a little bit different there too. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
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 My point with this is that it's like your feelings towards things are always going to be different, and how people perceive them will be like drastically different too. You know, and I just find that interesting because going back to before, Ozzy maybe not appreciating his work so much. Like, you should appreciate it, man, and different people will appreciate it in different ways. You know, like I'll give you an example. Right, I was doing the open mic one night. And there's this really talented guy called Keegan. He's really talented, like really, really, really good. And he's got this particular song, which is just, he's not recorded it yet, but I'm like, that's a hit. That's just a hit. I know a hit when I hear one. That's a hit. And I think I was on before him or something, and he was like, oh, this is unfair. How am I going to follow that? And I was like, what do you mean? You're brilliant. But he got me thinking, like, the better you are, the more you doubt yourself.
Yeah.
I always feel this every time I show up at the open mics or like gigs or whatever. Everyone's better than me, and I'm just like, I'll just do my thing.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, that was amazing, and I'm like, was it?
We're always like that. Whenever we finished playing live, it's we're always like, was that all right? Was that all right? Yeah. Was that okay? Which is so embarrassing to admit, but God, what are you gonna say?
With Joe in particular as well, like at least when it comes to live performance, I'm pretty good at giving the band its chops. Like when we've done good, I give us credit. Joe, on the other hand, we can perform the absolute gig of our lives, like flawless, like a gig that could be suited for Wembley Stadium 20 years from now. And Joe will just be like, "Oh man, I really messed up the guitar. Oh man, my voice was horrible." It's like that's never the case. But we're always our biggest haters, aren't we? There's always, I think the thing is, there's always a higher ceiling to reach. You never want to be content with yourself, because then you're not going to grow. You've got to really be, you don't have to be self-critical to the point that you crush yourself, but you've got to always give yourself room for improvement, because that's the only way you do improve.
Right. Best and worst gig.
Oh,
Shoot.
Oh. I instantly know what the worst one is, because we did it the other day. was literally last week.
God bless
Like,
you.
was it a week today?
No, it was a week yesterday.
All right, let's start. Yeah, let's start with the bad. We'll go to the good. So why was it bad? What happened?
Just everything about it. We're not going to name names or anything because
Oh,
just it. Yeah, it's just a bit scummy to name names, but
what the promoter fuck you over or something? Sound guy fuck you over.
yeah.
It wasn't that. It was just it was a bit of a weird atmosphere,
Okay.
and we hadn't rehearsed in a while, and we sort of didn't. We sort of had a set list planned, but the crowd that showed up, we were like, if we play some of our faster songs, they might die because they were older, like in their like 70s or 80s, which obviously people at that age can listen to that kind of music, obviously, but it was just the vibe. We were like, this is not it. And so we just pulled out like every cover we possibly could, and played our original stuff as well. So like, yeah, it just we were not good.
I mean, it sounds like you did the right thing though. Like you adapted to the situation, and that's a big part of being a musician.
We did our best with it, but something that really sucked as well. So this was a day in which we had 2 gigs in one day.
Oof.
Which I don't think we should ever do again in hindsight. But
I think we can.
But the issue was with this gig in question was the first gig on this day, and my voice went like 2 songs in to this hour-long set, and I had to sort of power through this one set in which it just got worse and worse and worse throughout the whole thing, and then knowing as well that we had another headline set later on that day, and my voice just felt like it had been torn to shreds. And my voice was, by the last song, by Deep Fat Fire, which is how we close all of our songs, Joe had to sing the bulk of the song, even though that's a me song, because my voice was just so gone.
That must have been an interesting dynamic though. Like if he doesn't normally sing it, that must have kind of given it a different flair, maybe. No?
Yeah, it was cool. It was just not. Had we planned it,
Yeah.
it would have been a bit more. But also, Sean, our drummer, he usually does backing vocals as well, but he didn't have a mic. So it made it even. So I was having to like set my house on fire with a deep fat fire, all in one go. And
You got to do your own backing vocals. That's a new one.
I was so out of breath, honestly, man. It was bad.
Right. Well, let's bring up the tone with a good gig. Your best gig so far.
You go first.
Oh, okay. So my best gig, Joe's going to disagree with this. So last summer, well, it depends if we're asking why it was the best gig. In terms of atmosphere, we did a gig recently opening for one of our favorite bands, which I'm sure Joe will probably speak about. So I'm not going to, I'll let him tell that story. But in terms of atmosphere, that was it. But in terms of just like overall everything, we did this gig last summer at just like this little center in the town that we live in. And we only had about 15 minutes to play, but we played like song after song after song. I think we fit in like 7 songs in 15 minutes. We just did it Ramones style, like really fast. Yeah. And I think that's the best energy we've ever had on stage because we just tried to get as much in as possible. We were really tight with it. I think personally that was our best on stage performance because we kind of played like our lives were on the line.
Fair enough.
I know Joe would disagree with his answer, so I'll let you do that.
Well, yeah, no, that was a really fun gig. I forgot about that. Yeah, for me, I think not playing wise because I was so nervous. I wasn't playing very well or singing very well. But we opened for this band called James and the Cold Gun, Yes, in Manchester, and I'm like, we're both massive fans of them. But my sister sort of introduced me to them when I was like probably 16 or 17 or something like that, and I've been like a fan of them for a long time. And then we managed to get a gig opening for them, and it was just the most surreal thing, just like seeing these people that we sort of looked up to as songwriters and performers, and we're getting to play on the same stage as them, just like a dream come true, really.
They give you any advice when you were there, when you chatted to them?
Yeah, actually, one of the guys was saying that we were it was really nice because we'd printed posters and flyers out for the gig and had been sticking them around. He was like, it's really nice to see bands actually care, because you sort of get a lot of bands who think that they're too cool to do stuff like that. Yeah, and it's just like,
I know what you mean.
just have a bit of fun and just the main thing was that we clearly cared a lot about what we were doing, if that makes sense, and we weren't worried about what other people were thinking. That's what they said was really good.
Yeah, I think there's a level of like professionalism that really helps when you're doing stuff like this. Like whenever I do a gig, I always wear like a nice shirt, and I kind of I make sure I sit watch everyone else. I mean, that's just basic etiquette, but
Yep.
Connect with people, do all the different things I'm supposed to do, be the promoter, but do it in a nice way. And yeah, like it always blows my mind when people have this kind of shitty attitude. They think they're too good for stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
it just makes you look bad. It just,
I know. It's embarrassing. Like for example, like the open mic
Yep.
at GC, which is great. It's been great.
Thank you.
Been great. Yeah, we really do miss it. Can't wait to be back there in September. But it's just, sometimes you'll meet people and they'll turn up to open mics and they'll turn up to even gigs. So like we did one when we did one the other week, and they'll come, they'll do their set, they'll stay for one person, and then they'll leave.
Yep.
And they do it every single time. It's not just if it was like a one time, maybe they've done it twice or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing it every single time, like just have a bit of respect for other people. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I think I told it on yeah. I've told it on the show before. Because I recently had open mic Michael Webster on the show. He does like you probably played what, like Grafton and
is it the bread records or something
Bread
like
Shed,
that?
but
Bread Shed, that's it.
he does Peaky Blinders on Wednesday, or Monday is Flower and Flag.
Yeah.
You would have played with him.
Yeah,
Great guy, great dude. Check out that episode if you're interested, and if you're a musician in UK around Manchester, go play his open mics. They're great. So we're at one of his open mics on the Sunday at Rewind in Northern Quarter, and we're all there early. It's a weird venue that, like,
I've never been in.
It's modeled after like an old style Blockbuster, but then I guess they kind of got bored with the whole Blockbuster concept, and then they just turned it into like a video store. But, but you can't buy video, like they're just displayed there, and then they've got like a little porno section in the background, and just I don't know. It's just part of that Northern Quarter quirkiness. It's like, oh, cool. But the upstairs is like tiny. So I'm getting into like the not important to the story shit, but I don't know. Fuck it. It's like a really small bar, like few seats, not very inviting. It's fine, it's all right. But like you probably go there for one, like go, oh, this is cool, and then you probably leave. Like you wouldn't go there all night. However, the downstairs is huge. They got like little sort of, not booths exactly, but like booth style seating, but it's not closed off. Loads of floor space, perfect for gigs. But they mostly just use it for like club nights, which I just feel is like such a missed opportunity. Yeah. But anyway, obviously Mike does the open mics there, and he does a really good job, and it looks fantastic. He's able to have like a big projector there, so it'll have like your name in the background and shit and details about you. There's a bar there. I mean, it's perfect. So anyway, to the actual point of the story. We're standing outside. I'm there with a friend, and we're just smoking a cigarette. We're chatting to Mike and everything, just trading war stories about open mics. And then there's this couple that's there. They're like an older couple from down south, and immediately this guy starts talking about like how he has a history in Manchester. He used to do like run venues or something, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I was genuinely interested. I was just chatting. He seemed all right, and then they interrupt our conversation a bit later on to kind of push Mike, and they're like, oh, can we get in there? Can we get started, please? Like, can we just get this up, like sort of hurried up? And it was funny because Mike's just like, okay. And they go back in, and we both just stare and look at each other. And he doesn't say anything, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
And he walks,
saying so much without saying anything.
yeah, it's just, oh, it happens all the time, man. So he goes downstairs, gets them set up. They're the first on. It was look, it was an interesting performance. How do I describe these people? Kind of an air of like full of themselves, but like not like in a like dickhead way. Kind of in a like maybe they're not aware kind of way. You know, like when people talk about themselves and when they kind of present themselves in a certain way, and it kind of gets you wondering, like, do they know? Do they know? Are they aware?
How self-aware are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got an air of like they're just not aware, but they're not like vindictive or anything. But they did the cardinal sin, so they did say we have to leave right after. But like, why would you wait for an open mic to start? Go first, push it. So obviously you've got everyone there, right? And then just immediately fuck off. Like, I don't know, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was a bit like,
no, that's fair, man.
people sort of clapped him. I was like, fuck you guys, man. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? No one is saying you have to stay. For instance, I did like a sort of like a headliney slot there. Quite a few people left. I didn't expect all of them to stay. I didn't get annoyed at them because I could see that they like stayed there for a few acts and then they probably just had to go. That's fine, man. You know, at least you've kind of. It's a sort of a respect thing, isn't it? It's like It's like hey, man, I'm here. Yeah, thanks for checking me out. I'll check you out. Oh, you're on a bit later. Oh, I can't make it. All right, sorry. Well, maybe next time. And it's just
But there's never a next time.
Well, see, and here's the thing, right? At an open mic, I can kind of get it because you popped in, you're doing your thing. Maybe you got to go. They're usually on a weeknight. I get it, right? A gig, no excuse.
No.
Because everyone has to be there at the same time for sound check. Granted, the headliner will have the first one and then blah, blah, blah. But still, no excuses. You know, it just makes you look bad. So if you're a band and you're listening to this and you're watching this, or you're an artist and you're listening and watching, stay for all of the acts. It makes you look unprofessional if you don't do it. And so much of this is connection. Do you know what I mean? When I think about all the gigs I've gotten, it's been through talking to people, making connections, people pulling your name out of a hat and going, oh, you're looking for a band? Oh, I know this band. I know this artist. Like, I do it all the time. I always recommend people that I respect and like, you know, I do things like, you know, I took your music, put it on playlists. I don't necessarily tell people. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But the point of this is that people are always watching, vouching for you. If you're a decent person and people like you, they will kind of go out of their way. You might not always see it, but they will.
Yeah.
But if you're an arsehole and you're kind of walking around like, oh, I'm the best and I don't need to do any of this, people really won't give a shit about you.
Like, yeah.
We know quite a few people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't last like that. That's the thing. Like, you've got the public perception and you've got the industry perception. You know what I mean? And the industry people, and I'm not just saying like people that work in the music industry that are famous, but like just other musicians, promoters, organizers, whatever. These are the people you want to make good connections with. You know, not just your fans, but these people. Sorry, I mean, it's just common sense to us, but like, there's so many people that don't seem to pick up on that. Or
the most important part about music is the connection and the community, because without it, like the music industry and the music scenes are like really codependent to survive. If you don't support your other artists, eventually there might not even be a platform for you. Like,
I couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah. But it's always been like that. It's always been people looking out for each other. You know, like in acting, it's exactly the same. I expected it to just be like dog eat dog, but no, it's actors going like, hey, how's it going? Are you getting work? Oh, I'll keep you in mind. Oh, there's this production.
Yeah.
Have you considered it? That's because it's hard. Like getting gigs, getting whether it's acting, music, whatever, it's hard. It's fucking hard, man.
Yeah.
There's so much competition. There's and for us it won't be like competition. You know, there might be if there's a band that's like very similar to you and they kind of started around the same time. Like I get that,
Yeah.
but if they're not dickheads, it won't really feel like that. It will just be like everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
Like I never feel that way with other artists around me. I just kind of see it as like, this is dope. I get paid to do this. I get to like see great bands for free.
Yeah.
Like, or like dirt cheap. Like I saw the Trusted, the band I mentioned earlier, for like £7.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
It is incredible. Like, my favorite part about that gig we did opening for James and the Cold Gun was the fact that we got to watch them afterwards.
Yeah.
Perfect, isn't it?
We would have been going to that gig anyway. Like, I think you'd literally bought a ticket. He'd bought a ticket for the gig, and then we got the message that we were gonna support them.
That's hilarious. You
just
bought
like-
a ticket to your own gig.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was funny.
Let's move it on. Because I feel like I could talk about this shit all day, but I want to talk about you.
Man.
Okay, bit of an out there question, but it's kind of trending at the moment. What's your thoughts on like streaming platforms? You know, Spotify's getting a lot of shade right now.
Spotify's about to get even more shade.
Go on, go for it.
Right,
Unleash.
I'm very passionate about this subject because we've recently.
That's a great way of putting like. Sorry to do it, but like, instead of just going like, I'm going to shit on this, you're like, I'm very passionate about this. I've got a lot of passion about what I'm about to tell you right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch my words because last week we got royally bummed by Spotify's.
Oh shit! I totally forgot. Yes, sorry. Go on. Yeah.
So, because some people out there for one reason or another think it's funny to create a playlist with a bunch of I'm imagining it would be probably exclusively small artists on these playlists, and for one reason or another bot streams on them, and one of our songs was recently the victim of that. And despite the fact that we're very much the victims in this situation, Spotify decided to punish us by removing our entire album from Spotify. So at the moment we're not the biggest fans of streaming services because in general I've got like I'm very opinionated about streaming services even before this thing. I think it's a lot of I mean, they obviously don't pay artists very well, which is the infamous worst thing. From one CD sale of our record, which is only £5, we make more money than we ever have from Spotify, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Someone can buy our CD and not listen to us once, and we'd get more money than someone who's listened to us 1,000 times. Which is very interesting.
I mean, before we get Joe's answer, like what I'll say is, I always look at like streaming platforms as more like free advertisement.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Like I never expect to make money from it. Like I use Ditto, and like I've got royalties. Granted, I don't get like a lot of streams, but like there is money there. But I kind of laugh at it because it's like pennies, but
it was never, get a chocolate bar with it if you want.
Yeah, but it was never about the money for me. It was always about like, I want to get this out there. I want to use this maybe to help me like get gigs and stuff, because that's the bread and butter. Gigs, selling merch, shit like that. Like that's how musicians are making a living now. And that's not to say that it might change in the future, but I think because Spotify's got such like a monopoly of this, it's just fuck the artist, and like we are the producers, we are the ones creating the content, so surely we should be figured into that conversation and treated respectfully. I mean, recently I've just kind of been transitioning more towards other platforms, really. Like I obviously Spotify is great as far as like getting your stuff out there, but I kind of feel like maybe some of the other platforms are a bit better. I'm even looking at like YouTube Music and going like, maybe give this a second chance. Apple Music is kind of my go-to right now. Like, one of the beauties of obviously of having distribution, like I think you were using DistroKid, right?
Yeah.
So it throws your music out everywhere. And one of the things I'm learning is that people listen to music in all sorts of crazy places, not just the main ones, but like ones you'd never heard of. And you're like, oh, okay, what the fuck is Boomplay? But all right.
Deezer,
yeah. I was like, is that still a thing? It is. Yeah.
It is. Our record is actually on Deezer.
Same. What the fuck?
I've never used it in my life, but I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a great platform.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's cool. Like you want to reach people in as many places as possible, right?
Yeah.
Um, I what I'll say again before getting your answer is my thoughts are just I think Spotify either needs a complete overhaul or they're probably just going to be acquired or it's going to be shut down or something. Because if it just keeps going in the way it's going, I think a lot of bands might just boycott it. To be honest,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
go on, Joe. Let us know what you think.
Well, I love it because I love being able to find music from any era whenever I want. I'm like very much like I just want to listen to something new every single day, and the fact that pretty much everything ever recorded is on there is brilliant. But yeah, in terms of paying people, and I remember seeing this video not too long ago of this band, and they had saved up all of their Spotify. What was it when you get money? Revenue.
Royalties.
Royalties. Yeah. And all they could do with it was buy Mackies, and that was it. And they made like a whole video out of it. It was really funny, but it was also a bit depressing. But yeah.
I mean, this is the thing as well. I think this is a reason why to never give up. Here's what I've learned from promoting my album. Every single day, there are new artists emerging, new artists going viral, whatever. Too many people are focusing on trying to go viral. Virality is not necessarily the key to success. It's a way of success, it's a method, and certainly it can help you build, but the most important thing is building a following, building a community. You know,
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like when I look at my gigs, the people that come into my gigs are friends. And fuck yeah, thanks for my friends for coming along, right? But everyone else is international. They're in other countries. They're far away. They can't get to a gig, right? So what's the key? It's building an infrastructure where you would be able to say have money or the means to tour, to go around and go to those places. And you know, if a band, it's the classic thing, and band's playing in your town, you know, you want to go see them. It's like, oh fuck, they're here. Oh, I can scrounge some money. Let's do it. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're trying to like travel, and this contradicts what I've said before online, but it's true. I thought about it. If you're trying to spend the money to go and see artists, it's a lot more when you have to like pay and stay in accommodation and stuff. However, I do agree with my original point, which is that people always go more out of their way for big artists than they would like smaller bands. And yeah, to those people, I say like you're missing out, man. Honestly, there's so much amazing talent. Go see the bands now. You know, like
Yeah.
go see Unchained now, because in a few years you might not be able to as easily. And this is the thing you got to think about. You know, it's like ticket sales are crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and some
Yeah, they
bands go
are.
against it. Like I was it All American Rejects and old 2000s.
Yeah, they're playing in people's back gardens, aren't
Yeah,
they?
and that's like a fuck you,
Sick.
so that they can bring it to the fans because that's who it's for. You know,
Yeah.
right now it's all going in the money or it's going in the pockets of like Ticketmaster and shit who just do crazy, almost illegal stuff. I mean, it just looks illegal. I'm not saying it is, but this whole dynamic pricing thing.
Dynamic part. I was literally just about to say that. It's just a piss take.
What the fuck even is that? Like, how does that work?
It's not illegal, but I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
To rapidly ramp up your prices based on demand for a show. That I think that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, I mean, I always say this in regards to like relatively smaller events and stuff that we've like both been to and played. But I feel like you're more likely to fill out an arena if it is affordable for your everyday man. Like my favorite band, well, is both of our favorite bands, a band called Bad Nerves. I've never paid more than £20 to see them. And as a result, whenever they're even remotely near me, because the tickets themselves are so cheap, like I've traveled to London to see them, went up to Manchester, to Birmingham, literally whenever they're even like fathomably like a train or two away, I'm like, I will go see them because the tickets are so cheap that I can afford to actually make the journey.
Yeah, I look at it for like major artists sometimes, and I'm like, as much as I would want to see them, I don't think I can justify spending this much money to see a band. I mean, when I was growing up, like, and even when I was your age, like, never more than 20 quid, maybe
Yeah.
30 at a push. Now, granted, the music industry's changed. Tickets are just more expensive for bigger artists, but it's getting to the point of craziness now, like hundreds
Yeah.
and hundreds of pounds to see, quite frankly, not even necessarily very good artists. Like, I would argue, if you're going to pay in the hundreds, maybe even in the thousands to see an artist, they better be fucking incredible. They better be Queen at Wembley good, or
Yeah.
I'm not going to see you.
Prime Beatles, like,
Yeah, I look, dude, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I see some of these artists and I see people paying like millions or thousands, and then you hear the live clips and they sound like shit. It's like they've not practiced in a year or something. Who?
Oasis.
Wow, we'll
I'm
see.
joking.
Won't we?
I
We'll
like
see.
him.
We'll see. We'll
I
see.
like him,
We'll
but-
see. I mean, the consensus there is that Liam can't do it anymore, but Noel's been tight the whole time. I guess we'll find out. I have faith in the boys. I feel like because it's a big occasion, maybe it'll be all right. But the
Yeah, no, I'm
last
sure. Yeah.
well, last time we saw Liam play was a live clip from like a footy event, I think, and he went on stage, did a few Oasis tunes, and it didn't sound great.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they'll be great, but it's just the prices for that were absolutely ridiculous. I know people who got prices, who got tickets, sorry. And yeah, I was just like, I wouldn't pay that.
It's all about money. I mean, they've already said that they're not going to write any music together, so they're just doing this, and then they're just going to go back to doing their solo shit.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a cash grab then.
yeah, yeah. But I think smaller gigs are better anyway. Like
Yeah,
that band that Ozzy was going on about, Bad Nerves. I saw them first time I ever saw them. I was at home, and my sister called me because my sister lives in London, and she was just like, "Oh, do you want to go see Bad Nerves? They're playing at New Cross Inn, which is like a little pub in London." And I was like, "No, how am I going to get there?" And tickets were like 12 quid, I think. And it still to this day is one of the best gigs I've ever been to. I think there was too many people in the venue. So it was like absolutely packed. There were people like crowd surfing everywhere. I remember the singer's mic went during one of the songs and they just kept playing. And then they just did the song again. And it was just like, oh, get to hear one of my favorite songs again. And it was just, yeah, I got to meet them and everything. It was unreal.
So I've seen Bowling for Soup quite a few times.
Oh,
Right,
that's from my childhood.
fucking incredible. Shout out to Patent Pending as well. And the two times I've seen them, right? I've seen them in what was it, like O2, Apollo, or Hammersmith? I don't know, some shit, somewhere in London. Solid gig, what you'd expect. And then the other time I saw them was an acoustic tour, and they were playing in a church.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and the guy that Patent Pending's like quite close to them. They're like the band that always supports them, and I believe they're one of their guitarists, or the bassist is now the guitarist in Bowling for Soup. So imagine that. Imagine becoming the guitarist in the band that you grew up listening to. That's
Yeah,
got to
that'd be
fuck with
crazy.
your head, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, the singer of Patent Pending went, "I'm never going to get a chance to do this again. I know this is a church, but can I crowd surf?" And everyone's like, "Fuck yeah!" And they like would. He was crowd surfing.
That's sick, man.
In a
That's
church.
so sick.
Fuck yeah! But the reason I bring it up is that the acoustics obviously were incredible in a
Yeah.
church, right? And I would argue, like, if you're a musician, even if you're a huge musician and you're doing these big gigs, why not also do the small ones? Then people who can. All right, fair enough. The venue is going to charge a bit more for a big artist, but like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could get away with charging a bit less, have a smaller, close knit stuff. It's more fun for the people involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's something to that. All right, a quick one here. Where do you? Well, I don't know if this will be quick, but where do you stand on the whole independent versus major record label argument?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I think as far as the artists goes, I think especially in the punk scene, which is obviously like something that Joe and I are. I wouldn't say we're necessarily a huge part of it yet, but we're definitely like well versed in it. We know the dramas and stuff.
Mhm.
In punk, I think it's people are too quick to slag off their favorite artists because they've signed to a major label. I think if you're an artist and you've got an opportunity to make money doing what you love, then you should absolutely do it. But at the same time, I think, especially traditionally, a lot of record labels have been very predatory towards artists. And obviously, that's a huge problem. But I don't think that's the artist's fault. That's obviously the record label's fault. So that's my stance on it. But what say you?
I just agree with that. Really, I've always thought it was stupid that when bands would go from being independent to being signed to a major, that people would be like, oh, they've sold out and all that. It's like, well, they just want people to hear their music. That's it. There's nothing more. Why would you not take the opportunity for more people to hear your music? It's just,
Yeah, I call bullshit on that too. And also when bands, like, I remember the first time I ever heard of that was when I started hearing it about Metallica, because I grew up like a big metal fan, right? And there was all sorts of conversations about that. Like purists would be like, "Oh no, they sold out when they did their second record and they played a bit of acoustic guitar, cunts." So it's like, "Oh, they sold out when they did the Black album," and I'm like, "Okay, so changing your sound means you've sold out." Like,
yeah,
like not everyone wants to be like Slayer and put out the same record every like year. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
no offense, I love Slayer. I fucking love Slayer. All right, don't come at me. All right, I grew up on that shit. I'm just saying. Bar the 90s, tell me that the stuff they did for the last 15 years doesn't sound like a lot of the stuff they did in their first 10 years.
Yeah.
Just saying. I think even the band would say that. But anyway, it's, you want to, I think as a musician, you want to play different shit, don't you? You want to, like, I know my next record is going to be totally different to this record.
Yeah, man.
And it's fun. It's different.
That's how it should be. That's why, like over the past few months, I got really into Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Just he was like a chameleon. Like he just changed from being like the first few records sort of just folk and acoustic, and then he has the whole rock and roll area, and then he goes back to acoustic, and then he has the whole gospel era. Like just bizarre, but so like cool that he just never was sort of didn't want to ever be tied down to one genre. I think that's how everyone should be. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think it shows versatility as an artist. I mean, taking a modern example, granted her music all does kind of sound similar, but Taylor Swift is a good example of like how you can take different parts of your career and then tie that into a live show and basically be like, well, like, here's everything that we do. This is for you. This is for you. This is for you. David Bowie, really, really old example. I mean, he was in the 2000s, he was doing like techno style.
Yeah. He did a song with 9 Inch Nails called something like American Scare Me or something like that, and it just sounds it just sounds like a 9 Inch Nails song with David Bowie in it, but also like with sort of the weirdness that would come along with David Bowie being in a 9 Inch Nails song. It's so sick.
So that's the thing as well. Like he understood that like reinvention is part of being a musician, but it's not all to do with like trying to get attention. It's just like, I want to try different things. You know, like when I was doing my my gig the other day, I did what you guys did at your gig. Like I adapted it to who was there. A lot of grunge fans, so I played some grunge songs. Nice. I tend to play a lot of Doors songs. I did that. A couple of my songs in there, but it wasn't really the right vibe. So it's like, all right. But I played the more rockier ones.
Yeah.
And then I played some like random pop shit, like everything from McFly to Robbie Williams, and people
nice.
People dug it,
man.
You know. But it's fun. It's like, hey, I don't just do this. I can do all of this.
Yeah.
You know, this is what it's about, man. It's, I think a true musician is a fan of all music.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting as well, personally, because I think as like an artist, as a musician who wants to make music, why would you intentionally put yourself in a box and limit what you can do? Like Joe and I, don't get me wrong, obviously I was saying earlier that my songs are a little bit like formulaic. Joe would obviously disagree, but we don't try to do the same thing. We just sort of write what it feels like. And if that turns into like an acoustic ballad or like a techno, whatever, like I haven't went down those routes yet, but if I did, I wouldn't be like, oh, I can't release this because this isn't what people know. Yeah. Like,
think as well, like if it's so far removed that it doesn't make sense with what you're doing, then just do something like do a different project for it,
Another
you know?
project, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like with Green Day, they've got a covers band that they sometimes
Yes.
use, and they just play whatever the fuck they want, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Green Day are actually a really good example of this. So Green Day for a very, very long time were one of my favorite bands. They still are
I was
one
gonna
of my
say, like,
favorite
what
bands.
happened?
But
Fuck.
yeah, but yeah. They still they were the favorite. They were the favorite for a very long time. Now they have been uprooted by that Bad Nerves band we were talking about. But Green Day are still fantastic, and I'm very well versed in them. And they have like, to my knowledge, they have two side projects which are all the same members of Green Day, but they've got like a rock and roll, like garage rock side project, and they've got this weird like techno electronica like punk
Ah.
weird thing called the Network, which is weird like conspiracy theory synths and all sorts. Really, it sounds weird. It's hard to describe, but I would recommend it. It's a very good listen. And then they've got the Cover Ups, which is that cover band you were just talking about,
Well,
which is a
great
bunch of
name.
like, yeah, I know, amazing, a bunch of 60s and like 70s songs that they're just playing. And Billy Joe Armstrong himself is in quite a few other side projects, too many for me to name. But like, I think that's exactly what an artist should do. Because when you get, if you get like famous, unfortunately, you do then kind of get like a little box put around you, even if it's not by yourself, but like your audience expects something from you. But just create a new project at that point and throw these more different ideas out there.
Yeah, I think you just got to do whatever you want. I mean,
Exactly.
like one of my favorite artists is Mac DeMarco, and I look at the
Yeah.
guy and I'm like, he don't give a fuck. Like as soon as he went independent, he was like, right, I'm gonna put out this chill record that's kind of still the same as what I do, but there's none of the like the fun vibes that I had on the previous records. This is just totally different. And it's like, is that? And then he just releases like I don't know. Best way I can describe it is just lots of instrumental demo style music, which was fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay. And then he's like, right, here's an album. And it's got like 70 songs on it.
Yeah.
And of when I say songs, I use that word like generously. There's maybe like 7 or 8 from that insane listen that are marketable songs. The rest is like, it is what it is. And I'm in two minds about it because part of me fucking hates it and it's like, Matt, can you just put out a normal record, please, for the love of God. But then the other side of me is like, fuck yeah, that's like, I do what I want. Fuck you. You expect me to do this. I'm just gonna do what I want. And
Yeah.
like he just does that, you know, like he'll randomly collab with people, just do the odd song. I think he's still touring and stuff. And when he does that, he just play all the classics. He's not beholden is my point. I bring him up because I want to say like he's not beholden to anything. He doesn't follow any
Yeah.
rules. He just does what he wants. And I think that is the true goal of any musician is to be able to just get to a point where you can just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. I mean, didn't the guy from Outcast release like a Peruvian flute album?
And bear in mind, this guy's not released music in a very long time.
Yeah,
And that's
but
what
I
he
just
did.
thought that was sick because, like, obviously, not a single Outcast fan was like, you know what, I really want. What's his name? Andre. You know what, I really want Andre 3000 to do. Release a Peruvian flute album. Like, no one was thinking that, but he did it anyway, and I really respect that. I love that.
Apparently, it's really good as well.
Yeah, it's actually a really good listen. Probably got a lot more people into the Peruvian flute.
A very underrated genre.
Yeah, very.
Peruvian flute. Oh fuck! Where do I go from there? All right, let's start winding it down. What has music taught you about life? Oof,
Oh no, you go.
oof. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Just oof.
Music has taught me that life is not that serious. You have to let go. You have to just vibe with it. I think music, in my opinion, music is the most important invention of mankind because it has like full control of your emotions and stuff. And like music has just taught me that your emotions are so important and it's so important to be in touch with them. But at the same time, you can't dwell. You've got to like vibe in the moment. Like people love I don't know if I'm kind of just like waffling here, but people love like background music, if that makes sense. Like good background music can help you let go. And music's just kind of taught me that, like, I don't know, just to be in touch with the moment, I guess. I don't know if I've just completely like waffled there or what, but it's a hard thought to communicate.
Yeah.
But yeah, just let go, live life, and enjoy it. That's what music's taught me.
How about you, Joe? Anything to add?
It's a hard question, you know. What's music taught me? I think I think I can't think of anything.
Do you think?
Well, clearly not at the minute.
God damn.
It sort of taught me that you need to have patience with a lot of stuff. I mean, I still am quite impatient, but yeah, just sort of over the past year after we put our album out and everything, sort of realizing that not everything is gonna just fall into place straight away. It's gonna take time, and it shouldn't fall into place straight away. Like some band like the guy out of LCD Sound System. I think he'd been in like multiple bands, and he was like in his like 30s or something like that when he started LCD Sound System, and they were like a huge band in the 2000s. It just shows that just because you just need to be patient.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like when I look at what I'm doing sometimes, like I started music when I was maybe, I'd say professionally, since I was like 17. I was in a band for about 3.5 years and a few others. Then it kind of ended, and I went and got a real job, and then I didn't do anything creative for years. And I like every time and sorry to the listeners of the show, you've heard this a few times, but every time I go to a gig, I'd feel depressed because I felt like I should be on stage. Why am I not on stage?
Yeah,
and it
that's
had nothing.
exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It had nothing to do with
That's-
ego or like I think I'm this. It was just they were there doing that, and I remembered how that felt, and I was like, I miss that feeling.
Yeah,
I want that. Why am I not doing it? Why? Why? And I could never find a good answer other than, oh, well, I guess it just doesn't work for some people. I guess, da, 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 da. That's a limitation that I think too many people allow for themselves. I think if you really love something, then you'll do anything in your power to chase it, no matter what.
yeah,
And it's not about the numbers or the fucking Spotify streams or
yeah.
how many people are there. I want to read something to you that my friend sent me before I went to my gig the other day. Because I was a bit like, she had a bet with me about whether or not people would show up. And I said, look, from experience, people don't really show up to my gigs. I might get a few friends that show up, but I didn't really expect anyone to be there. I know I went into that with that mentality. However, I was positive. I was like, I get paid, I get to perform music, I get to record it and put it online. I'm happy. Like
Yeah.
I don't need anything. But I guess she was trying to be positive, and she said a lot, but this quote got me. Your worth isn't measured by the size of the crowd, but by the love and dedication you put into your art.
I do agree.
Shout out to Vilma for that one. I don't know. Every time I get on stage, every time I record a song, I feel alive. I don't know. Like, I guess it must be the same for you guys. Like, how's it feel when you get on stage?
It's like the best. It's just the best feeling ever. And like you were saying about, obviously I love going to gigs and seeing bands and seeing people that just blow your mind. But then you just stood there like, I need to be doing that right now, or else my head is going to explode. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just that's been something that when we've not been doing gigs and it's been like a month or 2 month stretch and not doing a gig, I would go to a gig and I just the entire time it sucks, but I almost like couldn't focus on the band that I was watching. So I was like, I just want to be doing this. Why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing that?
It's like people look down on open mics, but everyone starts at an open mic. And look, if you're a musician and it's been a minute since you got a gig, dude, that is 15 minutes of 3 stage time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and if you felt like, I'm going to explode and need to get on the stage, get your ass down to an open mic and just fucking play.
Exactly that. I mean, we're literally doing one later today,
There you
like
go.
probably a couple hours after this finishes. But it's like I fully agree. You're just sat watching a band. I remember that I had this feeling before I was even in a band when I went to see my first ever concert, which was Green Day, obviously because they were
Oh,
my favorite
dude, I
band.
am so jealous. Fuck you.
Oh, they're but
What? Wait, what
when
era was this? What year?
this was 2022 Hella Mega, so
Hmm.
fantastic live show. Probably not their best for like, yeah, I saw Fall Out Boy and Weezer on the same day, but
Mega fuck you.
but I just remember thinking I was just sat watching it like this is really what I need, not what I want to do with my life. This is what I need to do with my life, and I think if you really care, you make it work.
Yeah, you said
Like,
something there that resonates with me a lot, which is a need. I've tried to
yeah,
explain this to people that don't do what we do, that I can't sit in a desk chair and do a 9 to 5. I can't do a quote unquote normal life. I
yeah,
have to do this shit where you're penniless and playing to no one, but it's fucking incredible because you feel
yeah,
alive and like life is about experiences. It's not about collecting money till you die and then retiring and living for 2 years and dying from a heart attack at fucking 65 or maybe even earlier. Like it's about going
yeah,
out there and fucking giving it your all and having experiences and a life you can actually fucking talk about.
Yeah.
exactly.
So when you do have
Yeah,
grandkids, they'll be like, "Oh, it was what did you like?" Even let's say you didn't make it, whatever. Like, what does that even
yeah,
mean anymore? But let's say you didn't make it, right? Imagine all the stories, all that you can tell. Imagine all these rich experiences, how much you learn from life, how much you've grown. You'll probably still be performing at even that age, you
yeah,
know? So wherever this journey takes you, boys, keep this mindset you've got right now. It's invaluable. It will do
absolutely.
you, it'll do you good. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, uh, best advice I've ever received. For me, for me, this is pretty much what I was just talking about earlier. But for me, something that my parents say to me a lot because I am infamously a stress head. I'm a stressed person. I stress about things I don't need to. The best thing that I've ever been told from my parents, and that is literally just to let it go. Just live life day by day. You don't need to you don't need to worry about tomorrow because you're always living today. You're never living tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist yet. So you've always got to be in today. That's the best bit of advice that I've ever received. Past is done. Don't need to worry about the past because you can't change it. And the future will never happen because you'll only ever live today. And
Wow.
that's my one.
Yeah, that's fucking incredible, man. Thanks for sharing that. Ozzy,
I
Joe?
don't really know how I'm meant to compare
Cheers.
to that. Best piece of advice, probably. Um, in terms of music stuff specifically,
Okay.
I'd say playing to play at every gig as if it's the last gig you're ever going to do, and play as if
Mm.
like when you walk off stage you're going to die or something like that. Like just acting like putting every single ounce of yourself just into the performance. I think is the most important thing in music if you're a performer.
There's this thing I get, maybe you can relate to this, but it will like, there'll be a point where maybe you're playing a gig and maybe it's not going so well, or people aren't really that phased, or whatever, right? And then you remember, I'm on stage, I'm performing, I'm doing what I
Yeah,
love. And then you start feeling the song. There's that certain song that just stirs something in you. It's just, whether that's adrenaline, anger, happiness, sadness, whatever, you just feel it. For me, I get it a lot when I perform either certain songs I've written or like Radiohead songs or whatever. Um, there was a lot of songs I did at my gig the other night where I felt it and I forgot about everything around me and I just belted and threw myself into it. And
yeah,
you lose yourself. It's like you're on
yeah,
autopilot. Yeah, like you're not even thinking anymore. You're feeling it. And
yeah,
that feeling, that's the drug, man. That's the addictive thing.
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Uh,
Completely agree with that.
what's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far?
Jeez, we're getting proper philosophical here.
Absolutely, man. This is
Yeah,
how I end every show.
You go first. Or do you want time to think?
I need more time to think.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Why aren't you listening to
I'm
me? That's the
just doing
fucking question. What's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far?
Biggest life lesson. Gone.
Biggest life lesson I've learned so far is that you are more often than not more than what you think of yourself, especially in the arts. But like, I'll never forget. I've done when we wrote songs for our first record, Not So Notorious. I will admit, apart from Deep Fat Fire, I hated every single song that I'd worked on because I was just like, my voice is bad, my songwriting's bad. I hate it. Everyone else is going to hate it. And I remember when we brought the album out, the song Play Pretend. I mean, Play Pretend was a mixed effort from both of us, but I hated my vocals on that song. And so many people were telling me that that was their favorite song on the album. And I was like, oh, maybe if I hate this thing, but so many people love it, maybe I'll grow to love it one day too. And now it's one of my favorite songs ever. So, well, not ever, but like that we've wrote. So I think that's the biggest life lesson for me. You're always more than what you think of yourself.
God damn, Ozzy. You hit us with the big ones. Thank you. You got anything, Joe?
Not as good as that, but just sort of not giving up on stuff, which is a pretty basic answer, but I think it's been a quite tough thing for us, just sort of trying to work out what we want to do and how it's all going to work out, and feeling like no one actually cares about our music and all the stuff that comes along with it. And it's just like everyone starts somewhere, and you can watch videos of like some of the biggest bands of all time playing to like no one in a pub somewhere. And like, yeah, just I think not giving up and not letting other people, if you've got something that you want to do in your life, you just need to do it, and don't let other people who might think that it's fucking cringe or whatever, like whatever that even means. Like if they think it's, you know, you're not going to make loads of money or any of that bullshit, it's just do what you want to do.
On that note as well, as you said, there's so many videos of like amazing artists performing incredible songs before they're famous. And like you said, no one gives a shit. I'm going to give an example in a sec, but I look at that sometimes either with my own stuff or artists that I'm watching where I'm like, they're amazing. Like, how are they not the biggest thing going? And it's like, maybe their day will come, maybe it won't, who knows? But it's not for us to say. But it is exciting watching that unfold and knowing it could happen at any point. And even if it never happened, like, you don't owe anyone anything. Like, too much of the world places importance on status and numbers, and I don't let that faze me. You know, I don't care if you don't think I'm some big musician or a successful artist. I don't care if you think I'm a failure. I'm a success because every day I go out there and I throw my art into the world, and I keep going in despite of you. You know.
Oh yeah.
Green Day performing at a college.
Yeah.
I know you've seen the video.
Oh, this video, I lived off this video.
This is the video
at their high school. This video is actually the reason that I wanted to be in a band, because I watched this video and I was like, wow, that's my favorite band in the world performing in front of barely anyone who cares, but they love doing it, and that's what made me want to do it.
If we had to put a number on it, I reckon it's just before Dookie.
Oh, I actually know the exact
okay.
time.
Oh, yeah, go on.
This guy literally knows everything there is to know about Green Day.
Fantastic.
So if it's the performance that I think you're talking about, if not, they've performed at many colleges many times, which they probably have, to be fair. But if it's the one that I think you're talking
It's the one
about,
where they're panning around and there's like a few people
Yes.
bopping, but most people
Yeah,
just walking past. And I'm like, how the fuck are you walking past this?
so this was pre-Dookie. This was 1989. So this would have been literally
shit.
or 1990, 89 or 90, but either way, right
So-
as their first record came out.
Yeah,
So
something
39
smooth or
Smooth.
whatever it is. 39
Yeah.
Smooth, yeah.
And
I think with them there, maybe the thing was that the quality of the album wasn't there quite yet. Because when I hear like Dookie, and I hear like songs on there that were on older records, but they just didn't sound as good. Dookie is like such a well produced album.
Yeah.
Like it's just so gorgeously produced, like lovingly. Like whoever produced that is just, they really put their heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
And some of that early stuff, like some of the early stuff was really good Green Day songs, but they just, the production lets them down a little bit. But it doesn't matter because it's punks. It still hits. But it's not, if that run of albums like Dookie, Nimrod, Insomniac, and then of course,
Got a Nimrod poster right there, actually.
I see it, mate. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Warning, is that an album?
Warning, yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic
I
record.
couldn't remember if that was on a...
All of these are on CD right in front of me right now as you speak. Like there's Nimrod.
So I grew up with them, right? I got into them when everyone else did around '04 when they released American Idiot. But I grew up going to like HMV and stuff, and I remember going in the store and seeing these other records by them. I'm like, oh, I thought that was like their debut record. So I started looking into it, and then I bought Dookie, I bought Insomniac, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, this is way better than American Idiot. I mean, American Idiot is brilliant. It's era defining for me, like, from childhood. But Dookie, for me, is their best album. I'll fight people on that. I just think from top to bottom, it's not often that I say this, but that to me is a 10 out of 10 album. Like it's just, it doesn't matter what songs on there. I never skip anything. I'll give you a few other 10 out of 10s. Paramore, Brand New Eyes, the third album. That's a 10 out of 10.
I've been into Paramore recently.
That's that album. That doesn't get spoken about enough. Everyone goes on about fucking Riot and all the others, but that, I challenge anyone to tell me that's not a 10 out of 10 album. Brand New Eyes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They're just... Where was I? Look, let's bring it back to you. You guys are doing your thing. I'm so excited for when you release more music. Can't wait to see you guys perform. And I'm just really impressed by your attitude and everything. I think the future looks bright. Let's put it that way.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Final question. Do you have any upcoming projects or final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners? Bear in mind, we are recording this on the 6th of June. This will be out maybe later in June.
I guess working on the working on the album is the main thing that we're doing. We've got some gigs coming up back home in Coventry. We got we're playing at a place called HMV Empire on, what's the date for that? I just can't remember.
27th of June.
And then
why are you looking as if I've got
27th of June.
Yeah. And then when's the Birmingham? We're playing at the Rainbow in Birmingham in Digbeth. And where's that? 2 days after. So when's that? 29th.
You're playing, hold on, 29th of June?
Yeah, yes. In Birmingham at the Rainbow in Digbeth.
Birmingham.
And that'll be a full band.
Rainbow, Digbeth. Okay, I might see if I can go to that because my girlfriend's from Birmingham.
It'd be great to see
you. Right. Yeah, man. And should we plug some bands that we like?
Yes.
So, my sister's in a band. She is in a band called Sweet Cheeks.
Brilliant.
They're girly pop new metal.
Ooh.
So if you imagine like Barbie music and Mario Kart music mixed with System of a Down, that is the vibe, and it is incredible. And there's another band from London called Francis Wolf, who are just absolutely unbelievable. Sweet Cheeks don't have anything on Spotify, but Francis Wolf does. Just some of the coolest songs I've ever heard in my life, and they blew my mind the first time I saw them live, and yeah, they're incredible. Have you got anyone that you want to?
I mean, not really my friends, but like I'd recommend to anyone to listen to Bad Nerves. That band fully like changed my life.
It changed. It sort of changed their first record, especially. My sister sort of introduced me to them, and then the three of us. Oh shit! Is it on?
I can't really hear you. Might disconnected maybe. And we've lost him in the middle of promotion. Fucking no! Yeah, there you go.
Is that working?
There you are.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, that first their first record. my sister sort of introduced me to it, and then the three of us in the band got into it, and it basically was like, we need to sound exactly like this right now. And there's a Manchester and Middlesbrough based band called Provenance who put out an EP a few days ago, and they're sort of like a more indie, like Catfish and the Bottom End and Two Door Cinema Club and Arctic Monkeys, but they're fucking great. Their new EP's great.
I feel like I've heard of them. Might have seen them.
You probably have.
Thank you so much for being on the show, lads. It's been a journey. It's been just fun exploring your mindset and everything.
Yeah, man, it's been great.
Thanks for being here, man.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, it's been wonderful.
God bless you. Thank you. And to all the listeners of the Christian Reeve podcast, make sure you listen to Unchained. As you know, I know I've already spoken about them in the past and then promoted them and stuff, but go check them out. I think if nothing else, this interview should give you a better understanding of them, more reasons to go check them out. And as always, thank you for listening to the Christian Reeve podcast, and I'll see you in the next one.